Good morning. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Pajama Sunday. How many of you wore your pajamas? Oh, wow. Thank you. That's awesome. Anyway, we still love the rest of you as well. So let's start our celebration by standing up together and singing in our pajama optional service, singing "Love Is My Decision." That inner place, that place of inner stillness where we remember the mystery of our interconnectedness, the mystery of our unification with Spirit, and the mystery living its life as the I Am presence through all of us. So as we breathe in and breathe out and go deeper into that place of mystery, we relax even more and open our hearts as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
An excerpt from Whatever Arises, Love That, by Matt Kahn. What would it be like if you could go about your life, whether there is turmoil or harmony, without being limited by your experience of anything? Instead of apologizing to someone for their experience or being in constant need of rescuing them, it is far more essential to honor your innocence as a way of inspiring relief in every direction. As your mind and heart unite as one, the more you will see others beyond their divided unconscious states. This invites patience, acceptance, forgiveness, and compassion to become cornerstones of your encounters, no matter how inflamed anyone seems to be. What used to bring disappointment and make it easy to lose all hope in humanity becomes moments to cultivate an even higher vibrational frequency than ever before. Each glimpse of awakening allows you to experience the joy, sovereignty, and transcendence of viewing life through the eyes of the universe. Perhaps such a universal view is already here. Maybe it's merely waiting for your heart to open so you can witness firsthand a truth that you are destined to see.
And so let us open our eyes, the eyes of our eyes, as E.E. Cummings would say, the heart of our heart, the soul of our soul, knowing that deeper than our imagination, there is a place within us that is beckoning us to be real and remember, beckoning us to speak the truth about all of existence, beckoning us to know that the I Am presence, which is the name of God, is who and what we are. As we sing together, I am remembering who I am, we know that we are one with this power and with this presence that we call life or love or absolute reality. We know it for ourselves, but we also know it for all beings. Let us use this song as a love song that loves ourselves, that restores our innocence, and that reaches out to bring love and innocence to all beings everywhere. Let us sing. With changed hearts and changed lives, ever opening up to the greatness of the I Am presence within us, we breathe in deeply and then exhale, opening our eyes in love with what is, as it is, and so it is.
could never see in you less than your perfection. For the love I feel is such a beautiful reflection. Knowing what I know of you, the truth residing in my view, there is nothing I could do but raise and praise it all. You can rest in the ease of me. Let my love be the breeze that sets you free. Trust yourself enough to let your spirit fly. And please know I am holding you high. If you have the ears to hear my song of adoration, you would know you are my greatest, most beloved manifestation. Simple as it is for me to cherish your divinity, this is how I'd have it be. For you to see yourself, you are power larger than you've ever dreamed. You are grace moving forward by every means to achieve all your heart could not deny. And please know I am holding you high. Wanting the brightest and the best for you with magnificence and ease, watching you beautifully unfolding, and I am so greatly pleased as you stretch forth. I see you soar, and your wings, they touch the sky, and you know I am holding you high. Yes, you know I am holding you high.
We're the yin yang, aren't we? Good girl. Thank you, Margaret. It was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. What? Yeah, of course you are. Okay, we'll talk later. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. Did you have a great Thanksgiving? Yes. Good, I hope so. The talk title today is Through the Eyes of the Universe, and when I sat down after, I don't know, a lot of turkey to write it and to think about what I was going to say, I was like, what? What was I thinking? What is that talk title? I think really this is a talk about significance. Are we significant, or are we insignificant? When you consider the vastness of the universe, I'm not so sure how significant we are. I read a parable recently that was a story that was written in the 40s about what if there was this magic camera that could make a movie of the Earth, say 800 million years worth of the life of the planet Earth. And every minute of this movie would be 24 days. And I have written down here, every 400 years, every hour would be 400 years, and there'd be 2 million years per day. And as the movie progressed, you would see that first the Earth is just like this blob, not much happening, and then gradually the land masses rise, and then there becomes life in the sea, and some of that sea, maybe around the month of August or so, if you're looking at it in the time span of a year, the sea life climbs up onto the Earth, and then things start flying around, the dinosaurs come, the dinosaurs disappear, the mammals appear. I'm not sure if I'm going in the right order, but the point is that in this documentary, or in this allegory where they're looking at the lifespan of the Earth as if it were a year and consolidating it into a year, the very last day, December 31st, is when man appears, when humankind appears. Cro-Magnon man starts, an ape stands up, and we become who we are. In the very last 7 seconds, the Declaration of Independence is signed. And then a whole bunch of other stuff happens after that until we get to the end of the 40s when this piece was written. So when you look at the scope of the lifespan of the Earth, or even broader, the lifespan of the universe, 14-point-something billion years, we've played a very small role in what is happening. Is that helpful? It can be, it can be, because sometimes we get so concerned about our problems or so concerned about what's going on in the world around us, and we forget that there's this whole other bigger picture, 14-point-something billion years worth of this bigger picture that has been working itself out for many, 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 many years, and we're just a small part of that. So it can be helpful. But the downside of that is sometimes when we think about how we've only played a small part in this thing called life, the universe, when we realize how tiny we are in that, we can feel like we're insignificant. So again, I ask you the question, are we significant or are we insignificant? When I was in India, they told us that the search for significance was kind of a bad thing, that it was that we were trying to be important, and that we were trying to, using the ego to try and matter more than we really do. But at the same time, the search for significance is a beautiful thing. So people, which is it? Which is it? Are we significant or are we insignificant? Yes, you got it. You got the punchline, right? For those of you who don't attend here regularly, you know that I will often ask, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? And the answer to that question is yes. Right? What? That's not what I ordered, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other sermon there, Fred. I mean, I often go on to say that it kind of depends on what's in the glass. Is it something you want? Is it Dom Perignon or is it prune juice, right? At this stage of my life, I'm going for the prune juice. Anyway, back to reality here. Or what is reality? So just as the glass is half full and half empty, simultaneously, we are both significant and insignificant at the same time. It depends on which one we choose to focus on. Just like sometimes we see the glass as half full or we see the glass as half empty. It all depends on our perspective. What are we choosing to focus on? Now, sometimes it is really, really smart to focus on the fact that we are insignificant. When we are looking at world events, when we are looking at our problems, when we are looking at our worries, we can know that there is a bigger picture that enwraps all of this and that everything is unfolding according to a divine plan. But when it comes to making a difference in those world events, that's when our significance needs to kick in. That's when we recognize that we are part of significance and that our awakening to the power that we are is part of what restores the vision of wholeness to the world. So it's both of those things interacting simultaneously, and because God and the universe and everything is so brilliant, we get to sort that out. In our sorting out process, though, I think that sometimes we get confused. We make that which is insignificant significant, and we make that which is significant insignificant. Did y'all get that? So what we're going to do today is to look at particularly how we sometimes make the insignificant significant, and look at how we can, more importantly, rise to the level of the significance that we truly are in our hearts, in our minds, in our beings, and our actions. I have 4 handy-dandy ways to do that. And I sit here before you in all my power with my pajamas, with my dachshunds on them, wearing festive sweaters, and I share with you what I have learned from meditating on this topic of significance. So something that happens in terms of significance, one way that we can either gain or lose significance is through the power of showing up. There's a story that Wayne Muller tells about when he was a younger man living in Santa Fe, and at the beginning of the AIDS crisis, back when people didn't really know what it was or where it was going, when a lot of young men got AIDS, they would just give up their lives and wherever they were living and move to beautiful places like Santa Fe. And so Dr. Wayne said that there were a lot of young men with AIDS coming into Santa Fe, wanting to live out the rest of their life in a beautiful place with art and mountains and beautiful air and this great energy that's in Santa Fe. And Wayne Muller is a Harvard-trained minister. He's a chaplain as well, and he would go and sit by the bedside of these people that were dying. And one in particular who had a particularly tragic situation because he really had no one. He had been abandoned by his family. So Wayne spent a lot of time with him. And he would go and he would sit at his bedside and he would talk learnedly about all of the things that he had read at Harvard and his interpretation of the Bible and his vision of life after death and his knowing that God loves everybody and that this man would be held in the arms of God when he passed over. And he talked and he talked and he talked. And then he talked some more. And then he came back and he talked some more. And the man, the person with AIDS, just kept nodding and smiling. Finally, it became clear that it was time to say goodbye. And so Wayne hugged this beautiful man and said how much he'd enjoyed talking with him. And the man looked at him and he replied and he said, "You know, Wayne, I got to tell you, I only understood about 10% of what you said. I just really like the sound of your voice." He showed up. Wayne Muller, I was going to say Wayne Dyer. He showed up too, but Wayne Muller showed up. He may have felt ill-equipped and unprepared to deal with this situation, with this devastation, to deal with AIDS before anybody really knew what it was, to deal with the tragedy of this man being abandoned by his family, but he showed up and he let something greater use him. And that's, again, I said this 2 weeks ago, but that's what happens so much in our lives is we show up and we think we're doing the work by spouting our wisdom, and sometimes it's just the matter of us being there and somebody liking the sound of our voice. So we make all of that insignificant. We make the sound of our voice and what it represents insignificant. We make just showing up insignificant. We make the fact that we don't know anything or know what to do, we make that so significant. So can we flip that this morning? Is there something in your life where you're feeling like you're ill-equipped, where you're feeling like you don't want to show up, where you're feeling like maybe you don't have the qualifications, and you're making too much out of that? And what if you were just to realize that in the scheme of the billions of years of life on the planet Earth, your worries are insignificant, and just say, but wait, my presence is significant, my presence matters, and just start showing up. Make a mental note now of where you might do that, where you might start showing up in your life where you have been falling back. You know, maybe it's sitting down at the computer and writing your memoirs. Maybe it's showing up for a loved one that you have ignored or neglected. Maybe it's being a friend. Maybe it's showing up for the homeless. Maybe it's something else. Who knows what it is? But there's some area in your life that's calling you just to show up and trust that when you get there, you will know what to do. So that's the first thing. The second thing has to do with trusting. And when you show up there, you'll know what to do. The second thing is to use what you have been given. There's a story in The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist about Mother Teresa, several stories about Mother Teresa, but this one, she asks Mother Teresa about fundraising, about her philosophy of fundraising. And Mother Teresa says, "We don't fundraise, we just pray, and then we work with what is given." And that's a beautiful philosophy. It's something that's kind of foreign to us. We make a dollar amount or a certain amount or a certain resource so important. We make that so significant that we forget the significance of working with what we have been given. I have a personal story about that. It's not about me, which is kind of a blessing. It's a story about somebody who's here today, and I did not warn this person. It's a story about one of our beloved singers, and she might be really tall and have red hair, but I'm not going to say her name. She might even be wearing black pajamas with snowflakes on them. But one of my best friends, my prayer partner, is Reverend Mark LaPonce, who works at the North Hollywood Church where I used to serve. And Mark loves to tell me this story of this time where he was doing a Wednesday evening service, and Margaret was the singer, and Margaret, they communicated about what the topic was and what the song should be, and Mark gave her a topic, and Margaret didn't really have an appropriate song to do. So, what she could have done was what is very popular for a lot of people, is blame the minister, for picking a horrible topic that doesn't match with any of my repertoire. Don't ask me if I've heard that one before. Blame the minister. She could have blamed herself, say, wow, I don't really have enough songs, I don't really have any ideas. All of the good ideas have been taken by all the other singers, people like Patti LuPone, Beyonce. They've all taken all the really good ideas. I'm stuck, I'm out of luck, I don't have anything. But you know what Margaret did? She went to Taco Bell. She went to Taco Bell and wrote a brand new song for that service on a Taco Bell napkin. Is that powerful or what? Let's give Margaret some love. I may have embellished the story just a tad, I'm not sure. However, you see what's powerful about that story, though? She did not make doubt or blame or not having enough significant. She made her creative power, her creative intention, her ability to pick up a napkin in Taco Bell and write a song out of her head. She made that significant. Her significance was guided in the right direction. One of the excuses that she could have had was, well, I don't have any manuscript paper. How can I possibly write a song without manuscript paper? But she didn't need manuscript paper. She was given a napkin at Taco Bell, and she was able to write a song on that napkin. And it's a beautiful song. It's Goliath, right? It's Goliath, which is a beautiful song that's on her CDs, that she's sung here many times, that she's sung at North Hollywood many times, that she's sung all over the country, I'm sure. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like we understand that, okay, we may not have enough resources, and we're so obsessed with the fact that we don't have enough resources, but put that in the perspective of 14 billion years and recognize that your lack of resources really doesn't matter, and then turn within and see what does really matter, which is this infinite 14 billion year principle that has been within you, that knows the answer to everything, that can do anything, that can rise up to any occasion as long as we give it permission, as long as we give thanks for it, as long as we give it air and spaciousness and room to breathe, that can rise up and make art out of a Taco Bell napkin. Where in your life are you waiting to make art out of a Taco Bell napkin? Where are you giving too much power to that stuff that doesn't matter about all the resources that you lack? And where can you shift that power into the place of knowing that you have absolutely everything that you need right now? You just need to work with it. You just need to give thanks for it, accept it, and work with it. Think about that for just a moment. See what comes up for you. And make a commitment to look at your life with those new eyes. So that's the second one. The third one. Do not look at your notes. I don't want to look at my notes. I want to remember what it is. Nope, I got to look at my notes. Oh, yes, good one. Okay. The third one is to remember the power of the small and to engage the power of the small. And we talk a lot about that here in this church. Many of you have heard me talk about that the power of the small is quite powerful. But we're so focused all the time, putting our significance on all of the big stuff that we hope to accomplish, that we forget that the big stuff is accomplished by many tiny, small steps. I'll tell you a story about the power of the small. And this is a story about it's a true story, something that happened in an ICU in the early, I think around 2000. And there were these two babies, twins, that were born, and they were premature. One of them was about 2 pounds, and the other was 2 pounds, 3 ounces. And that 3 ounces made a difference, because the one who was 2 pounds and 3 ounces was doing rather well. It looked like she was going to be fine. But the one who was only 2 pounds was having difficulty surviving. Her vital signs were declining. Her color wasn't good. She was not looking like she was going to make it. Now, this nurse who was working decided that she would break protocol. She felt that it might help if she put the babies in the same isolette. And so she did. She took the healthy twin and put it with the twin who was not doing well. And the healthy twin took her little tiny arm and put it around her sister. And within minutes, that twin started doing better. Her color came back. Her vital signs stabilized. And 2 months later, 2 girls, Brielle and Curie, were released to their home where they lived happily ever after. Now talk about the power of the small. Think about a premature baby, a 2-pound baby that's so tiny. Think about that baby's little arm, how tiny that is. It's like my pinky, it's so tiny. But that little arm going around her sister made all the difference in the world. So where in your life are you claiming that some gesture that you want to make is too small? That it's not enough? That you don't quite have the power, so you're going to do nothing? What if some seemingly insurmountable situation or goal or challenge in your life that stands before you, what if you could just think of, okay, what's the smallest thing I can do in the right direction? And then do that. And once you've done that, say, okay, what's the next smallest thing I can do in the direction of my dreams? And then do that. And then once again, what's the next smallest thing I can do in the directions of my dreams? And then do that again. It's just one step, one smallness, over and over and over and over again. We give too much power, too much significance to that which seems insurmountable, when really, in truth, the significance rests with the power that lies within us. Again, that power of that universe that created the rocks and the trees and the flowers and the birds and the honey and caused the oceans to go back and forth in response to the moon and all of these wonderful things, all of the things that Jill talked about in her children's message. That power is our life, and that power can accomplish anything. So we tap into the significance of that power and use it to take small steps in the directions of our dreams. And that's a beautiful thing. That changes lives. That restores us to our right relationship with the grace and the goodness that we are. Okay, there's one more thing, number 4. Number 4, in terms of restoring the right order, the right balance of significance, is to cultivate joy. Cultivate joy. So, about a week ago, I got a really interesting phone call. My nephew is married to a very, very nice man, and I have a great relationship with both of them, but I don't really expect my nephew's husband to call me. When we're together, we have great conversations, and I love him dearly, but he's never really called me. The other day, I was working in my home office, and my phone rang, and I saw my nephew's husband's name on the screen, and I picked it up immediately thinking there must be something wrong with my nephew. It wasn't. It was Mark, my nephew's husband, and he said, "Bonnie, I need to talk to you." Okay, what? Do I have a moral responsibility to cultivate my joy? It's the only time he's ever called me to ask me that. Well, you can imagine what my answer might have been. It was yes. It was yes. Mark was disturbed by what was going on in the news and all of the fuss and the brouhaha around the election and all of the angst of the people that were surrounding him and all of the predictions about what could happen. He was feeling that distress, but also feeling that there was something off, that not only was there this distress, which is real, I won't invalidate that, but there's also this capacity for joy that is hidden in this appearance of distress, that in every brokenness, there is every appearance of brokenness, there is a hidden wholeness. And he was feeling this holy urge that he felt almost guilty about, to say, wait a minute, 14 billion years and this is happening now. Is it possible that we're giving this way too much power? And is it possible that right now, my moral responsibility is to cultivate my joy? Of course I said yes. Of course I said, yes, Mark, end of story. It is your job to cultivate your joy. And then we talked more, and we talked about why that was important. And he's a very bright guy. I talked about it. I wrote a blog about the safety pin. Oh, I forgot my safety pin. I wrote a blog about the safety pins in rebuttal to people who were anti-safety pin. You know the safety pin story, right? People wear the safety pins to show that we are a safe place. And in this blog, I talked about why I think that I spoke about love, but it's also joy, why it's so important. Because what is going on now is exposing a lot of things. It's exposing some racism and some bigotry and some hatred and some violence. But guess what? That has been going on forever, right? Since, what did I say? December 31st, in that whole thing, you know, since man was created, since humankind was created, all of that has been going on forever, since the dawn of humanity. We just keep putting different faces on it. We keep putting different names on it, or different ideologies, or different groups on it. But the root cause, the underlying cause, is something else. The underlying cause of hatred or violence and bigotry is something else. And what I believe the root cause of hatred and violence and bigotry is fear born out of ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of our true nature. Ignorance that there is only one of us here, and its name is Spirit. Ignorance that we are here to soar, that we are here to be kind to one another, that we are here to be good, and ignorance that we truly, truly, deeply have enough. Ignorance out of that causes fear and causes people to do all kinds of things that look like, that outpicture as hatred or violence or bigotry. So the importance of knowing the root cause of all of these things, as we slap faces and names and ideologies on top of it, the importance of knowing the root cause is that once we know the root cause, we can start addressing the root cure. And the root cure is love. Love in all of its forms. Love does not necessarily have to be a wimpy love and saying, you get to do this to me that I don't want. But it is standing up for ourselves and standing up for what is right and noble with the courage of love, with the force of love behind us. If we try and drive out hatred with hatred, it is not going to work. If we try and drive out their fear with our fear, that is not going to work. We have tried that. It is not sustainable. We have to stand up, get calm and clear in the love that we have within ourselves, radiate innocence everywhere, use every encounter as an opportunity to raise our vibrations and to create greater love, and pray our little dachshund-clad booties off to know what that looks like, because to love as God loves, who knows what that means? But that's what we're aiming for, to love as God loves. So we pray to be guided of what would love do in this situation. And as I said, love is a close relation to joy. So if you are in love, chances are you are in joy too. And if you are in joy, chances are you are in love as well. Love and joy is what drives out fear, hatred, bigotry, violence. We need to support each other in doing that. We need to support each other in giving too much significance to those things that have been going on since the beginning of humankind, and start giving the true significance to where it belongs. The power of love that lives within us, the power of joy that lives within us, the power of goodness that is affected by one small step at a time, and by showing up and by using what we have, using the resources that we're given. And one more power that wasn't on my list that is coming to me now, and that is the power of community. What I see for us as a spiritual community, I feel very strongly right now that the future has summoned us. The future is calling us. The future is calling us to be the ones that say yes to love. The future is calling us to be the ones that say yes to joy. The future is calling us to be the ones that show up in all of our goodness, that show up in all of our flaws, that show up in all of our wonder. The future is calling us to be the ones that say, yes, I will use these resources that I've been given. We'll be tempted to say, oh, it's only this, and how can this make a difference? But no, we look at the power of the small. We are the ones who believe in the power of the small for inner and outer transformation. The future is calling us to be that beautiful change that we wish to see in the world. Do you see how much power that is? You see how much power we have? We just have to stop giving our significance away. We have to stop spending our significance on junk food. And we have to bring our significance back home to where it belongs, to nourishing love, nourishing peace, nourishing joy, nourishing community. We will help each other, and we will get it done. You are a blessing, radiating goodness in the world. Let's know that for each other right now. and let us pray. I turn within and absolutely trust the power and the presence of the Most High, this beautiful, beautiful God that is love, that is absolute reality, that prays through us always without ceasing. Right here and right now, I cast out any barriers to the revelation of that presence within me. I cast out any fear. I cast out any doubt. I cast out any blame or inner or outer violence. And right here, right now, in this sacred time, in this sacred community, we collectively connect to our innocence. We breathe into our innocence. We breathe into our innate goodness. And we know that as we are innocent and innately good, as we love ourselves completely, we bring that love to every encounter. And trust and know that every encounter is an opportunity to cultivate love, to raise our vibration, to see the truth, and to restore the balance of significance and insignificance in the world. So together, we cast away that which no longer matters. We cast away that which we have falsely empowered. We cast away that which means nothing. And in the void that is created through our casting away, through our intentional sacrifice, we open up to receive the grace and the goodness and the glory and the gratitude for the wonder that we are, for the awe-inspiring beings that fill us and that move us to do great things. We accept the land and the law of paradox. We know that great things are achieved by showing up, by using what we have, by taking one small step at a time, and by cultivating love and joy. Even if the whole world screams that this is not true, even if the media tells us it is something different, we know the truth. We know the truth, and we empower that truth through our belief and through our action, where belief and action become one. So I am so grateful. So grateful for this power, so grateful for this presence that moves through each of us, so grateful for this prayer that is praying us. I am grateful for the transformation that I know has occurred here in this sacred sanctuary, not only in each of us, but also in the world around us. For we are doing noble spiritual work here, and it makes a difference. I bless this spiritual center and everybody in it. I bless all paths to God. Churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists. I bless everyone, for everyone is a blessing. And with a heart that is so filled with blessedness and so filled with goodness, I say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. And I release these words into the mystery, and together we say, and so it is.
I can stare into the face of what is every day, witness it deplete me, and then watch myself be washed away, or use the power that I've been given to make another choice, editing my ego. Let my higher power have a voice, 'cause it is more than just the natural I'm looking for. The simple and the normal and the small. For more than once I've seen the power we hold inside of us, and I'd like to be an example to the greatness in us all. Let me shine back on the stars with equal brilliance. May I effortlessly bloom before the flowers in the spring. May I warm the hearts of many like the roaring fires of home. And with a voice voice of grateful angels, let me sing. Many are the bystanders that offer up for free the way that it has always been, or simply why it cannot be. But deeper still, there runs a river that is swollen with desire. It beckons with a whisper, and it sets my soul afire. Let me shine back on the stars with equal brilliance. May I effortlessly bloom before the flowers in the spring. May I warm the heart of many like the roaring fires of home. And with a voice of grateful angels, let me sing. Nature in all forms reveals the majesty. The wind, the rain, the earth, the sea, the sky, the power and the magnitude are pulsing there inside of you, which tells me you and I, we can dare to try, we can surely try. Let me shine back on the stars with equal brilliance. May I effortlessly bloom before the flowers in the spring. May I warm the hearts of many like the roaring fires of home. And with a voice, yes, with a voice, Lord, with a voice of grateful angels, let